Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about a bodybuilder from the 1970s. And that bodybuilder is Mike Mentzer. Mike Mentzer is also the developer of the heavy duty training system, a system in which he believed in working no more than 79 sets 3 times per week to all out failure. Mike Mentzer also introduced this same type of training to 6 times Mr. Olympia, Dorian Yates. But this type of training at some point would always lead to injury because of the excess of strain that you're putting on the body to go to all out failure. And this type of training also ended Dorian Yates' Mr. Olympia career. Now, Mike Mentzer was introduced to heavy duty type training through his first competition, where he met a bodybuilder named Casey Viata. Casey Viata was a user of the Nautilus machines that were developed by Arthur Jones. Arthur Jones is really the person who started heavy duty type training. And when he met Mike Mentzer felt like he was not implicating the exercise to its greatest degree that he felt like it should be. So Mike Mentzer spent the next 10 years developing a system of 79 sets 3 times per week to all out failure. He spent 10 years doing that, and he spent 10 years training people in that way. Now, one of Mike Mentzer's greatest accomplishments was occurred in 1978, Mr. Universe, where he ended up with a perfect score. And also 1979, which is his highest accomplishment, where he finished first place in the Mr. Olympia, the over 200 pound category. Back in the 70s, you had like 3 tiers to the Mr. Olympia. These 3 tiers were over 200 pounds, under 200 pounds, and the overall. The under 200 pound, Frank Zane won, and the overall, Frank Zane also won, which basically give you the Mr. Olympia title. But Mike Mentzer did win the over 200 pound Mr. Olympia, and the guy did it with a perfect score. So in 1980, Frank Zane is the reigning Mr. Olympia. Arnold is coming off making his Conan movie. And also CBS is getting ready to broadcast the Mr. Olympia to mainstream media. And I feel like that's why Arnold won the 1980 Mr. Olympia, because the guy is the most charismatic of those bodybuilders of that era. And like I said before 1,000,000 times, the IFBB is a business, and they're going to pick the one that's going to promote the business the best, not necessarily the best body. So don't think that in 1980 Arnold had the best body. He did not. Frank Zane had him beat. Also, Mike Mentzer had him beat. And as far as conditioning concerned, Chris Dickerson had him beat. So Mike Mentzer was placed tied with Barrier-Coe. And even though he tied with Barrier-Coe, they still gave Mike Mentzer 5th place, which caused a lot of commotion for that particular Mr. Olympia, which caused a lot of them to boycott the Mr. Olympia in 1981. And NBC never did air that Mr. Olympia. So that goes to show you, like I said, the IFBB do what they can to promote that business. But 1980, Arnold should have never won the 1980 Mr. Olympia. Frank Zane was in great condition. Mike Mentzer was in great condition. There's no way Chris Dickerson should have beat Mike Mentzer in 1980, because Mike Mentzer is like I said, the guy had a immaculate physique. Chris Dickerson had good conditioning, but he had an unimpressive physique. Mike Mentzer had an impressive physique. Good arms. The guy was like a Greek sculpture, the way he was made. The guy was built, wonderfully built. And it's a shame that the IFBB work the way they do, because we have missed out on a lot of high caliber Mr. Olympias because of its business practices. Now, 1980 Mr. Olympia, in my opinion, this should have been Mike Mentzer finishing at least second, if not first, with that particular Olympia. You know, and I think they was running them all together at that particular point. They was running all the Mr. Olympias. They had just that one tier, and that was just Mr. Olympia. And I don't think they was running. In 1980 they wasn't running the 3 tiers, so it was just the one Mr. Olympia. So in actuality, 1980 Mike Mentzer should have been Mr. Olympia. That shows true 1980 Mr. Olympia winner Mike Mentzer. But anyway, that's what I want to talk to y'all about. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel. And again, I'll be talking to you later.